this weekend, as you know, we spring up and return to daylight saving time. That switch has many of us talking once again about legislation to permanently remain on daylight saving time or standard time. Just pick one and stick to it.
This debate fires up whenever we change the clocks. Our Steve Wolford is live in downtown Las Vegas with an update on an idea that, Steve, a lot of people say his time has come.
Yes, that's right. That's a good way of putting it, actually. You'd be pretty hard-pressed to find anybody who says they actually enjoy switching back and forth from daylight saving time to standard time. But what's being done about it? Well, tonight we'll try to answer that question, at least legislatively.
Oh, it's okay. You'd lose like an hour of sleep, I guess. It's not so bad. I'll get used to it.
I hate the time change. Especially in the spring, I don't want to have to get up an hour earlier.
Opinions about the time change are like a clock. Everybody has one.
I don't really know why it's necessary.
But here we are again, ready to spring ahead this weekend with all of the maladies that go with it.
Scientific literature has shown there's an increase in car accidents, sleepy driving, workplace injuries, fertility issues, depression, anxiety.
Dr. Daliah Wachs says there's wide agreement among doctors that transitioning to daylight saving time in the spring is harder than adjusting to standard time.
Springtime is always a pain in the butt, which is why we're #SickOfSpringForward.
Why the deja vu, the never-ending wheel of time? Go back in time to 2018 when Florida Senator Marco Rubio introduced the Sunshine Protection Act to stay on daylight saving time until the end of time. It won unanimous approval in the U.S. Senate, only to die in the House. It's since been reintroduced in the Senate, but it will still take time to become law.
And I shouldn't be surprised, right?
State Senator Robin Titus says, unfortunately, she didn't reintroduce her own bill this session in Carson City to follow Arizona and lock us in on Nevada time.
I was ready to change it a decade ago or so. Put several bills in. This is my 5th session. I did not put one in this session because I was under the impression that it was going to be done from the federal level.
She says she doesn't care if Nevada goes with standard time or saving time, and if state lawmakers can't decide, they can settle it the Nevada way.
You pull the card and the highest card goes, right? That we've settled a lot of problems by just pulling a card.
So that's how we do it here. Once again, your friendly reminder to set your clocks ahead 1 hour when you go to bed Saturday night. Officially, the time change will begin at 2 a.m. on Sunday, which it will then be immediately 3 a.m. except in Arizona, where it will already be 3 a.m. You got that? Arizona, by the way, opted out of the time change under the Energy Policy Act of 2005.
A nightmare that changed all of our lives. A nation grieving for the lives lost. Our city of lights dark and thousands out of work. Healthcare workers stretched thin and exhausted. But today, medical providers at Southern Hills Hospital are taking a big sigh of relief. That is because for the first time in 3 long years, people are walking around Southern Hills Hospital without masks.
News 3's Brett Forrest joins us outside of the hospital now with how people are feeling about this turning point and the impact on future precautions.
Yeah, Jim Marie, good evening. So there is a general sense of relief and happiness through the halls of Southern Hills Hospital behind me today because as of 6 a.m. this morning, no more masks are required for patients or staff inside. But as a staff member tells me in the ER, he never imagined that it would take 3 years to get to this point.
It's a big day today, 3 years after the start of the pandemic, almost 3 years exactly to our first COVID patient here at Southern Hills Hospital. But we have finally been able to remove the masking mandate.
March 15th, 2020. That's the day Southern Hills Hospital got its first COVID patient. And the extra beds in the emergency room, a necessity when their halls were overflowing with COVID patients, now empty and remaining empty.
There was a lot of shock when people walked in here and they saw these beds filled. And I think it was scary for a lot of people. But we've all adjusted. And
the decision to end the mask mandate coming as a surprise amongst staff, having become so accustomed.
It was a little bit of, I guess, disbelief. It was hard to imagine going into work without it.
Adapting to them through 3 difficult years. Figuring out ways to handle bedside manner.
You know, it's hard. It's hard to hear people. It's hard to, you know, if you can't hear well, you can't read lips. And so throughout the pandemic, we put pictures on our badges.
Despite the requirement now ended, doctors saying they recognize the need to be more cautious about mask use than they were before.
It's caused us to reconsider how we used to take care of patients before the pandemic. We used to never wear masks, and now it's kind of given everybody second thought about when we should be wearing them and when we can take them off.
The decision coming due to a combination of CDC guidance and low transmission rates in Clark County. And staff at Southern Hills saying it's nice for patients to see them smile again, but recognizing the other issues the pandemic created, exacerbating nurse and physician shortages.
Releasing the mask mandate doesn't really change that, but it certainly helps with morale. It certainly helps us feel like maybe there is an end to the pandemic.
So as for the other hospitals throughout Las Vegas, I called them all today to see the status of their mandates. And University Medical Center tells me they dropped theirs in September, combination of low transmission and high vaccination rates amongst their staff. UNLV Health Clinics just dropped theirs 3 weeks ago, but others like St. Rose, Valley Health Systems, they still have mandates in place for patient care areas. And then VA Medical Center, they tell me they were actually meeting today to discuss when they might change and drop their policy, but that comes after the VA nationally dropped theirs last week. So locally, they are hopefully going to have a policy change here in the short term.
He's been gone almost 30 years, the only North Las Vegas police officer ever shot and killed in the line of duty.
Today, the department and some local school kids are honoring Raul Elizondo at the campus that bears his name. With tonight's Operation Crime and Justice Report, News 3 City's Ross joins us live from North Las Vegas Police Headquarters in Denise. The department is making sure Elizondo's sacrifice is never forgotten.
Yeah, Marie, Officer Elizondo was killed in 1995, and all of the men and women that he served with back then have now either retired or moved on. But the department remembers, and changes were made after his death. It's an annual celebration at Raul Elizondo Elementary School, a parade of police and firefighters circling campus. But behind the smiles, a serious reminder of what the day is all about. Tell me what you know about Officer Elizondo.
I know that he helped many people and he was a really good officer. All his family and friends get to come and actually show us what it was like to be working with him. Keeping the memory of a 27-year-old fallen officer alive. Paul Elizondo with Metro Police is Raul's younger brother.
We're local products. Raul, from kindergarten through UNLV, was a local product, and he's just be honored with this with the school.
Elizondo was killed on January 30th, 1995, responding to a report of a man acting erratically, walking in and out of traffic at Evans and Carroll. It was 5:21 in the morning.
5:23, he called out that he was needing medical 1018, which is our code for expedited medical. So within those 2 minutes, he made contact, got into a struggle, and was shot, and was able to radio out for assistance.
Lauren McAllister is president of the Police Officers Association. Here at Union headquarters, dispatch transcripts detail what was said on the radio during that call. Help arrived within minutes, but Elizondo died from his injuries. The suspect had managed to disarm the officer and shoot him with his own weapon.
It's important that the community remembers what these officers do day in and day out. It's not just about arresting bad guys and taking them off the street. It's about forming a bond with the community, making the community a safer and better place for everybody to live.
The North Las Vegas Police Department was founded in 1946. In that time, 3 officers have died in the line of duty. Along with Elizondo, there is James Slagle, killed in 1973, and Detective Chad Parquet in 2017. Both from car accidents.
It's a very noble profession, but also a very dangerous profession.
But it is Elizondo's death that led to changes, including a requirement for better gun holsters.
Also, what we do is we try and always to have another officer there, and we go to contact the person if possible. So it's not a one-on-one situation. There's usually at least 2 of us to one of the suspect.
Meantime, there is a lasting respect. Out at Woodlawn Cemetery, the Union recently replacing a faded grave marker for Officer Slagle with a new stone. While back at Elizondo Elementary, his legacy surrounds the next generation and students learning what it means to serve others.
Raul was someone who loved the community, loved the people he served, loved North Las Vegas, loved children, so it all makes sense.
And as you heard there, Officer Elizondo grew up in our community, graduating from basic high school in 1985. He also received the department's highest honor, Police Officer of the Year, just 1 year before he died.
Click below and subscribe to News 3 and you'll get more stories about our community.